Let me tell you about a man named Robert. Robert worked for 38 years, never missed a day, saved carefully, lived modestly, retired at 65 with $280,000 in savings and a Social Security check coming every month. His neighbors called him responsible. His children called him their hero. His wife called him the most dependable man she had ever known. At 72, Robert sat in my office and cried, not because of a stock market crash, not because of a medical emergency, not because of anything dramatic or sudden or unexpected, because his $280,000 was gone, every penny, and he had no idea how it happened. I am Lenny. I am a financial advisor, and I am telling you Robert's story today because Robert is not unusual. Robert is happening everywhere, in every city, in every state, to good, careful, responsible American seniors who did everything right and still ended up broke at 80 because of one mistake. One single, quiet, invisible mistake that felt like the safe choice every single day until it was too late. Today, I am telling you exactly what that mistake is, and I am telling you exactly how to make sure it never happens to you. Before we go anywhere, everything I share today is for educational purposes only. Nothing here is personal financial advice. Please always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. Now listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is the most important retirement information I have ever shared on this channel. Robert's mistake was not spending too much. It was not making bad investments. It was not giving money to scammers or making risky bets on the stock market. Robert's mistake was so simple and so common that when I explain it to seniors in my office, their first reaction is almost always the same. They go quiet, they look down, and then they say, "Lenny, that is exactly what I am doing right now." Robert put all of his retirement savings in safe places. Savings accounts, CDs, government bonds, things that felt solid and reliable and protected, things that could not crash, things that could not disappear in a market downturn. He slept well every night knowing his money was safe. He felt responsible. He felt prudent. He felt like he was doing exactly what a careful retired person should do. But here is what Robert did not understand, and here is what nobody told him until it was too late. Safe does not mean protected. Safe means slow, and slow, over 20 years of retirement, is just as devastating as a crash. It just takes longer and hurts quieter. While Robert's money sat in savings accounts earning 1% and 2% per year, inflation was eating it alive. Every single year, the cost of groceries went up. His insurance premiums went up. His utility bills went up. His healthcare costs, which grew faster than almost any other expense in his life, went up significantly every single year. But his savings were not keeping pace. They were growing at 2%, while his cost of living was rising at 3, 4, sometimes 5% per year. Every year the gap got a little wider. Every year his purchasing power got a little smaller. Every year the $280,000 that felt so solid at 65 was quietly, invisibly worth a little less in terms of what it could actually buy. And every month when he withdrew money to cover the gap between his Social Security and his actual expenses, the account got smaller, and smaller, and smaller. Until one day, at 72 it was gone. That is the mistake. Playing it too safe for too long with money that needed to grow, and I need you to hear this clearly because I know what some of you are thinking right now. Lenny, I am retired. I cannot afford to lose money. I cannot put my savings at risk. I worked too hard for this money to watch it disappear in a market crash. I hear you. I genuinely hear you. And that fear, the fear of losing what you worked your entire life to build, is not irrational. It is real and it is valid. But here is what I need you to understand. The choice you are making when you put all of your retirement savings in ultra-safe low-yield accounts is not a choice between safe and risky. It is a choice between two different kinds of risk. The risk of a market downturn, which is visible and dramatic and frightening, and the risk of inflation, which is invisible and quiet and slow and absolutely certain. You are not eliminating risk. You are choosing which risk to accept. And the seniors who choose the inflation risk because it feels less scary are the ones who end up like Robert, broke at 72, with no idea how it happened. So, what is the right approach? What should you actually do with your retirement savings, if not keep them all in safe, stable, low-yield accounts? The answer is something I call the foundation and growth model, and it is the framework I use with every single client who sits in my office because it addresses both risks honestly instead of pretending one of them does not exist. Here is how it works. You divide your retirement savings into two completely separate purposes, not two accounts necessarily. Two purposes with two completely different investment strategies. The first purpose is your foundation. This is the money you absolutely cannot afford to lose because you will need it in the next 3 to 5 years. 1 to 2 years of living expenses in cash or near cash, a high-yield savings account, a money market account, something completely liquid and completely stable. Another 2 to 3 years of expenses in short-term treasury bonds or CDs that mature within the next few years. This money is not trying to beat inflation. This money is trying to be there with certainty when you need it. It is your security blanket. It is Robert's mistake corrected, because Robert needed some money in safe places. He just did not need all of it there. The second purpose is your growth layer. This is the money you will not need for 5, 7, 10, 15 years. And this is the money that Robert got completely wrong. This money, the money with a long timeline, needs to work. It needs to grow. It needs to outpace inflation over time. Because if it does not, it will be worth less and less every year it sits there, and when you finally need it in year 12 or year 15 of retirement, you will reach for it and find that it has been silently eaten by the very inflation you were trying to avoid. The growth layer belongs in diversified equity investments, not individual stocks, not speculative bets. Diversified, low-cost, broad market index funds that have historically grown at rates that outpace inflation over long periods of time. Dividend-paying stocks. Real estate investment trusts. The kinds of investments that go up and down in the short term, yes, absolutely, but that over 10 and 15 and 20-year periods have consistently delivered real growth that inflation cannot erase. Now I want to show you what this actually means in numbers, because numbers tell the truth in a way that words sometimes cannot. If Robert had put $150,000 of his $280,000, roughly half, into a diversified growth portfolio earning an average of 6% per year and kept the other $130,000 in his safe accounts for near-term expenses, here is what would have happened. After 15 years, his $150,000 growth portion would have grown to approximately $360,000. Not because he got lucky, not because he picked the right stocks. Because he gave diversified investments time to do what they do over long periods. His total retirement savings at 80 would have been significantly higher than when he started, not dramatically depleted. He would not have been sitting in my office crying. He would have been sitting in my office asking what to do with the money he had left over. The difference between Robert's actual outcome and this alternative is not skill. It is not luck. It is one decision made at 65 about what to do with the long-term portion of his savings. One decision that felt small and felt safe and turned out to be the most financially consequential choice of his retirement. I want to give you 3 things to do this week. Not next month, this week. First, find out exactly what your retirement savings are earning right now. The actual number. The actual interest rate or average return on every account. Write it down. Then subtract the current inflation rate from that number. If the result is negative, if your savings are growing slower than inflation, you are losing purchasing power right now. Every single day. That is urgent information that deserves urgent attention. Second, identify how much of your savings you will genuinely need in the next 5 years. That is your foundation number. Everything beyond that 5-year need is your growth layer, money that has time on its side and that is being robbed of its potential by sitting in an account earning less than inflation. Third, schedule a conversation with a qualified financial advisor this week, not next quarter. This week. Bring these 2 numbers. Ask specifically about the foundation and growth model. Ask what a properly diversified growth allocation would look like for your specific situation, your timeline, and your risk tolerance. That conversation is free at most advisory firms for an initial consultation, and it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to your retirement security over the next 20 years. Robert did not have that conversation at 65. He waited until 72 when the damage was already done. You do not have to wait. You are watching this video right now because something in you knows that your retirement deserves more than hope and good intentions. It deserves a real plan. A plan that takes inflation seriously. A plan that gives your long-term money a real chance to grow. A plan that lets you arrive at 80 with security and dignity rather than regret. Do not be Robert. Have the conversation. Make the plan. Protect what you built. I am Lenny, and I genuinely care about every single person watching this. If today helped you, please hit that like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps us reach more seniors who need this before it is too late. Subscribe to Retirement Clarity and hit that bell. We post every single week, and every video is made for people exactly like you. Share this with someone you love who is in retirement or approaching it. You might be saving them from becoming the next Robert. And drop your question in the comments right now. Are you playing it too safe with your retirement money? Tell me. I read every single comment. I am Lenny. Protect your retirement. And I will see you in the very next one.